Lord, sister. I'm one of the oldest sisters. I'm doing good. Um, I'm glad to be here and to listen to what you all got going on so we can figure out what to do. Not only my brother was killed by the police officer, my youngest son was killed by a police officer also. So I've been through this twice in the past 7 years. This is my second time on this rodeo. But at the same time, I'm still trying to make a difference, make a change. So no more young men get killed or young women get killed. But I'm ready whenever y'all are, see what we can do to make these things a lot better in these communities.
As we look at our community, we look at that as our flock. And what we want to look at is how do we have a relationship between the shepherd and the wolf. So I'm going to start off with Captain John Tom of the LAPD. If you would start us off, as the community you serve as your flock, do you view yourself as the shepherd or do you view yourself as the wolf?
So my name is Jonathan Tom. I'm a captain with the Los Angeles Police Department. I've been a captain for 5 years now. Currently the commanding officer of West Los Angeles area. And in response to the question, a shepherd or a wolf,
Yes.
we're really neither one of them. Going back with what one of the other officers indicated, we view ourselves as the sheepdog, tasked by the shepherd to do certain missions to protect overall the flock or the herd, however you want to look at it. But essentially, we're given missions and we accomplish those missions. So we don't give the direction as a shepherd might give directions. But one of the examples that I give to people is that the sheepdog protects the herd, whether or not the herd wants them to, or whether they ask them to, or even if they understand what it is that they're doing. That is our job to do, and we embrace that wholeheartedly.
Do you view the police as your shepherd or as your wolf or as a wolf?
Hello, my name is Kenneth Vinson from Los Angeles, California. That's actually a mixed question. I see situations where both roles play out. Ideally, I'd like to see them be the sheep. But I think experiences tell us that that's not always the case. So my answer would be that I'd like to see them as a sheepdog, but I think history tells us that we have a mixture of both.
Okay.
Well, my name is Overton Nash. I was born and raised in East Oakland, and I wasn't quite the most impeccable citizen, I guess, growing up. But it was more so catered to the environment that I grew up in. And as it pertains to the question that John asked me, I went into the Marines, and
Can you defend the police and still seek police accountability?
Well, first off, I want to apologize. Earlier, I had to step away. I'm a young father of an 8-month-old, so I had to make sure she's doing well. But yeah, I'm Jeremy Hunt. I'm from Atlanta, Georgia originally, and I went to West Point, graduated in 2015, and I'm in my 5th year of service in the Army. And I'm actually headed to law school next fall at Yale Law School. I'll begin my studies there. And so I'm really excited to be part of this great group of folks that are obviously some police folks here and others that have served the community. It's an honor to be with you all. So to answer your question, John, absolutely. I mean, I believe as civil servants and as people that want to help our communities, it's key that we help our police, that we work alongside our police force, and we build that level of trust. And so there's absolutely, we can hold each other accountable at the same time while working together as a team. If you look at even how we work in the military, you're on a team. We hold each other accountable. We have rules. We have regulations. We have officers that and oversee soldiers, but at the same time, we are still one team. And so that same type of camaraderie is possible in American cities if we can work together at the local level. Getting kind of wrapped up in a lot of big national issues can often distract us from the real work that is often done at the neighborhood, city, municipal level. And so I think that it's key to look at, hey, one size fits all kind of solutions don't always work for every community. We have to look at each individual and say, hey, how can we work alongside those who serve our community, the wonderful men and women that put themselves in harm's way to defend our communities and enforce our laws? How do we work with them while also holding accountable when we have those kind of bad apples that sometimes you see these challenging stories?
Excellent. So as we could see from that role playing, there's a disconnect between how the police view the community and how the community deals the police. So therein lies sort of the crux of what we're dealing with as a country. And so what we want to try to do for the rest of the time here today is try to look at what's the cause of that and what can be done in the future to try to improve. If you could, we're going to bring you into the conversation here. As the National Guard is always at the forefront, whether it's intervening in natural disasters or when rioting or looting or even like COVID duty, the National Guard is front on the line. And also, little known secret is that the National Guard trains a lot of police departments in certain areas. What training would you like to see be mandatory for all police officers? And also first, introduce yourself to the group.
So I'm Scott Rice, and I'm sitting here with Chief Ron Anderson, and we represent the leadership of the Air National Guard. So the Air National Guard has 100,000, 110,000 airmen across the country. We're in every state, several territories, the district. So, pretty large organization that we have. And we spend a lot of time doing training and train organizing. And frankly, the chief and I, we're at the sunset of our time doing this business. In fact, tomorrow is my last day in duty after 40 years and 2 months of doing this business. So I've been around a while doing this crazy stuff. So we all can remember there's a time and place when the military was not so welcome in our community. I'll bring one example of Kent State. You think about Kent State, and young, inexperienced, have no idea how to integrate with a volatile group of people that are not, if I want to use an overused word, complying with rules, regulations that either society or the laws have laid in on them to peacefully protest against something that they didn't think was happening right, and specifically the Vietnam War. And the interaction and the clash of that was disastrous. People were killed, and the name of those in uniform was terrible. The whole thing was not good. And how did that culture change? How did that culture of the military change to be one of safety, security, friendliness, and interaction? And I think it was a lot of time on doing the three pieces: education, training, and experience, and doing a balance with all of those. And it's a real challenge that we have, because our front lines are our police force. They're the ones that we expect to keep the safety, security, so that we can live and prosper. And yet at the same time, we hold them deeply accountable when they misstep. And so that's the world that I live in the military. And so to get to your question in a roundabout way, the training that we need is hard to quantify, because it's not just one thing. I think Trinity said that. It's not one thing that will, I can press a button and say, aha, give them this training. It's the whole thing. And so one part is capacity. You look at New York Police Department. They had a capacity of 10,000 police officers, and they grew that capacity to 40, 50,000 police officers, and they asked the community to support that. And that capacity helped give them the time to do the training on how to do community policing, how to interact with the public, how to be defensive and protect themselves, how to know how to use their tools at their trade and be who they are. And that's been relatively successful. It's a real hard thing to have the police build a culture that is part of you know, as what Shauna said, hey, when I grew up as a kid, the police were my friends. You know, they were people I loved and respected and could run up to and hug. That's the culture that we need to get back, because we can't live without the police. The police can't live without us, and our community needs the safety and security to grow, prosper, and multiply.